Hey there, it's Crafty Jennabug. Today, I am making a journal, but not just any journal. This journal is going to be for Dephemerember. If you aren't aware what Dephemerember is, it is a ephemera prompt list hosted by Louisa Heinzel and 49 Dragonflies here on YouTube. This is, I believe, the 4th year they've done this, and it's really a lot of fun. They provide a prompt list. Usually they have freebies you can print out. And yeah, I've participated for 3 years now. Well, this will be the 3rd year. And it's so much fun. So much fun. So, this journal will be for Dephemerember, but not for me. Oh no. I found a partner to swap with. And my swap partner is not someone that I know, either in person or really online. The Junk Journal Facebook group I've mentioned a few times, Junk Journal Swap and Connection. I can link it down below if you'd like. I posted in there asking if anybody participated in Dephemerember and whether they would be interested in swapping a journal with me. And my swap partner was the first to respond, said she was super excited, and we went from there. Her name, she's on Etsy. You can find her at Glitter Gammy. I will link her Etsy shop down below. And we've chatted a little bit back and forth, figured out what sort of parameters we wanted to work within for the journals we were making to swap with each other. I looked at her, what she has in her Etsy shop, and that's really all I know. We said we wanted hardcovers, vintage. She likes vintage style and neutral tones. The other parameter we specified was 3 signatures. So that leads me to here. A local bookstore was closing and they were just going to throw out all of the books that didn't get sold. And so I went there a few times over the course of their closing sales and bought a bunch. And once they announced that they were just going to throw everything away, they started giving things away for free. So I hit hard all of the older books. I have a really hard time tearing something apart that is intact. So, for instance, I've made a few junk journals off camera for gifts using a hardcover book that is vintage, but only if it was falling apart in some capacity. I mean, I focused on the things that nobody would have bought, really. So this is one of the books. It is quite old. Let's see what the copyright says. 1947. So this book otherwise would have gone in the trash. I feel much better between that fact and it being broken. I'm comfortable taking it apart. Otherwise, I would really struggle with that. So I am going to cut the front and back cover off. Since the spine is already damaged. There's the front. And the back. And that leaves me with, I can pull I can pull the glued pieces off of the spine for collage fodder. Look at that. Isn't that cool? That would be so cool in a collage. I have pages I can use for whatever I deem worthy. Let me see. I just put that away, but I need it again. There we go. All right. So these will be the covers of the junk journal I create for Glitter Gammy. For now, I can put those aside. This can go to the side. I'm not going to use it in this project. For the cover, I decided it's not in the best of condition. I would like to cover it with some fabric, and I'm not going to do it yet because I want to wait until I have my signatures figured out. But this is the fabric I want to use. I have a habit of going to craft stores, Walmart, anywhere that has like anywhere that has a fabric cutting table, and they sell remnants that they cut. So this is all of the information. Oh, you can't see that. This is literally all the information I have on this fabric. It came from Walmart, I believe. So I cannot give you any sort of identifying information. I thought it would look really good on this journal. So I will, when I'm ready, use it as the cover. Let's look at this. It's just so cute. And she said she likes vintage. This is very vintage. I like it a lot. So that's going to be my cover, and I'll figure more out later. This might end up being multiple videos. So I've got my journal cover figured out. This is what I've got so far for the signature. Since we decided on a neutral color scheme, I've picked out some neutral papers of various types. I've got some scrapbook pages. This, I think I'm going to make a flip out and sew it in here. But I've got some smaller pages, some vintage music paper, some dyed paper. These got a little damaged. I'm going to fix them. Had these in my stash. More paper, music paper. Distress Oxide dyed papers. I did some jelly printing. This is going to be like a side pocket. A couple of taller sheets, more jelly printing. I thought that was cool since we're doing this for Dephemerember to leave December 31st. More dies. More dyed paper. Another little side pocket or flip out, I'm not sure yet. And then this guy, this is actually 2 pieces of paper with the wrong sides touching. And I think I'm going to sew along it and then notch the sides and sew it into a signature so that it's just 2 pockets, 2 side pockets. Seemed kind of neat. So, let's see, how many pages does that give me? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 13, 14, 15, 16. Technically 16 times 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. How many is that in math? I wanted to make sure that she had at least 18 pages. Let's see, 16 times 4, 64 individual pages. All right. I also have some packing paper. These are definite. I'm going to decorate them though before they go in. I also have some packing paper that I was using for when I was jelly printing. Just might use. I have not decided yet if these will go in. This one has a back. I think that might be fun. Continuing on with the neutral theme. I like this one a lot. I think that would be really cool. And that's that. So I'm not sure yet on these. I might figure out the signatures and play around with some ideas. I could just use these as collage fodder though. Alright, now let's figure out these signatures, shall we? I want to move my smaller things to one side. Taller things. I think each signature will get one of these in some capacity. This thing, I need to sew this thing. And I have 2 shorter pages and 3 taller pages, so each will get one of those. All right, so I have put together these signatures. I think I'm going to cover the outside now. So in order to do that, I've got my signatures in here, and I'm going to lay out my fabric. This is the one I chose with these, it's upside down. Let's try that again. I've got this really pretty fabric. I might grunge up a little bit. I really like the idea of the spoon going down the spine. So I think that's what I'm going to aim for. I hope she likes this. I'm not used to making a journal for somebody I don't know. So we'll see. Center that right about there. And I think I want to leave some overhang so that if I want, I can wrap it inside. I might do that, but we'll see. So I really like the spoon down the spine. So I've got about an inch. We'll mark it. So I need to measure the spine width. Spine is about an inch. I want to give it room to expand. So let's say an inch and 3/4. An inch and 3/4 is pretty much perfect. Okay, great. So what I need to do is I want to reinforce the spine. In order to do that, I need something to make it sturdier. So I'm going to use this part of a Kleenex box and make my spine with it. Don't need these little guys. My spine length, the total length of the spine is around 8 inches. This is perfect. All right, so I've got 8 inches. Where's my pencil? 8 inches. And that can get cut off. And then, what did we say? An inch and 3/4. So what I am doing, this part, this is excess, and then these 2 pieces I will glue together with this side out to make the spine. This is kind of flexible, but I think 2 of these together will make it a bit sturdier. So that's what we're going to do now. Take this, a little bit of tacky glue, and glue those together. We'll probably need to trim them once they are dry, and that's fine. And then I can't decide if I want to do I think I'm going to do a hidden spine because I like the spoon so much. So that means sewing in my signatures to another fabric. Question then is, do I want to use the same fabric on the inside, or do I want a different fabric? Alright, so this needs to be grunged up. This is the packaging that holds my jelly plate. And what I like to do to grunge paper and fabric sometimes is smear some Distress Oxide ink on it, spray it with water, and then dip. So that's what we'll do. We'll start with this burlap, frayed burlap. Add some water. Smear it around. Grab my fabric and whoop. And it gives me that. That is what I have. I want to do that again. Something to be mindful of if you do this method on any plastic, any, you know, you could do it on your glass mat if you have one. Before you smear more ink, you got to make sure this is really dry. I did pick up a lot of ink off of there, but that is what I'm left with. I'm liking that so far. Let's do some more Distress ink and frayed burlap. A little less water this time. So we're getting somewhere. I'm going to keep doing this for a while. I'll end up speeding up this part. I'm going to move on to Vintage Photo. Let's try something else. I've got some Walnut Stain Distress Oxide spray. And I don't want it to be too dark. But I do like that. I don't really want to add any extra colors, but I've got some Lost Shadow and I've got some Weathered Wood. Since the cover has some gray on it, let's see what that does. That gave it a little bit of something. And let's try the Weathered Wood. So now I've got to hang this up to dry. This has dried, and I took some archival ink in the color Frayed Burlap and did a little bit of stamping on the fabric just to kind of, I don't know, I think I like it, but I may do a little more stamping. I have not decided yet. For now, we're going to go ahead and assemble this cover. The spine is dry and it's going to go here, and we have the outer covers. I do want to leave a little bit of a gap between them. I think that's going to work really well. And then I have all this extra fabric on the sides. I think I've got a plan of attack. I've got this little cup here. I'm going to pour some tacky glue in it, and then I'm going to water it down a little bit so that it's easy to spread. So I'm going to start by spreading glue on this bit. And I have a piece of parchment paper underneath my fabric so that hopefully we don't end up with any bleeding, or it doesn't stick to my desk basically. Ooh, that sticks pretty well. Okay. Now the question is how much of a gap I want to leave. So I'm going to move this to a flat surface to dry, but before I do, I'm going to take this fabric and I'm just going to place it where I think I want it. I think I want it right in the middle right here in that crease. So I'm going to lay this over, grab my little pencil, and I'm just marking on the back side. Probably should have, could have, would have done this before I glued everything down. This way I have margins for sewing in my signatures. See? Can't see it. Well, you can kind of see it on that side, but that's all right. So now I'm going to move this to dry. Now, I need to make a template for sewing in these signatures. And I've got about 1 3/4 inches. Yeah, about 1 3/4 inches. I need to divide in 3. I like to do a 5-hole pamphlet stitch. I just find that it is much more reliable when you're working with various lengths of paper, when you're working with various heights of paper. So I fold it in half. And then I figure out how many little blocks on my graph paper I have, and then I divide that in half. So this is the center. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 14. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I could do 7, 7. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's a little bit much. Let's go with 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I like that better. Okay. Boop. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And that'll give me a little bit on the bottom. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to go ahead and label this as the top. I gotta figure out what color thread to use. My template is complete. I've decided on a color of thread. And I like to fold this like that to make it easier for poking holes in the signatures. And then I find my center somewhere. Is my center? There it is. And I make sure that everything is where I want it to be and that all of these pages are flush up against the previous one. And then I'm going to take some paper clips and paper clip them all together, but only on one side. That way I can adjust this tighter in there if I need to. Let's actually do it. this way so I can keep that front. Okay, so now I can push up against this part. And then I align this. And then I will also safety pin it. Make sure I have even amount on each side. And then I take my poking tool. I'm going to poke 5 holes along this line where these pencil lines intersect. Push tight against the spine and poof, just like that. For all of these. There are my signature holes. Take that off. This one is ready to be sewn in. Next, same thing with this. So to make my life easier on myself, I'm not going to poke any holes until I'm actually sewing. But what I will do is go ahead and mark the lines where I want to sew. So before I sew these in, I would like to cut the fabric down to size. All right, this is mostly dry. I'm so excited. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut this down. Obviously I need that and that to line up. Make sure my margins for the spine are right. Yes. Okay, wonderful. All right, so let's mark this. And what I'm doing is I'm finding the edge right here. No, wrong one. Come on, come on. I'm finding where this part is, and I'm marking just inside. All right, trimmed this down. I went and laid it over on the book to make sure that it was how I needed it to be, that it was gonna fit, that I didn't need to make any more trimming, etc. And now I think, I have a feeling this is not going to be easy, but we're gonna do it anyway. Who doesn't love a challenge, right? So, got my signature, right? Holes all punched. This is the last signature. When I sew in signatures, I like to start with the last one first. That way I can lift, I'm right-handed, I lift from this side and make sure that everything is where it needs to be. And then I have this thread, which is just a DMC embroidery floss, pulled right out of my cross stitching. And then I'm going to make sure I have at least 3 times the height. I honestly don't need that much, but it's a good rule to follow. That way you can ensure that you don't run out of thread in the middle of sewing. It's a pain. And I just use all 6 strands of the embroidery floss. I need a piece of washi tape or masking tape. I will use a piece of masking tape to tape in, come on, to tape down the last little bit. Now the question is, should I go from the inside? Maybe I should start from the outside. That way it's all hidden. There's no bows. Smart, smart. Glad I thought of that before I started. So, okay. So I'm going to start by poking through the fabric on that center hole. And then I'm just gonna glue my little thing down there. Open this up, and then I'm gonna come through the outside to the inside. And I'm not gonna pull too tight yet because I can tighten it up later. And then you just go in one direction, find the place. Oh, perfect. Awesome. Yes. I love it when that happens. Oh, I pulled it tight. There we go. And then through here, if I did it right, oh, perfect. I did it right. Yay! That was easy. Better not risk saying that again. Okay. And then I'm going to go back through this hole without crossing through the thread. Oh, I just did. Back it up. You don't want to put your needle through the thread because then when you go to tighten it, it's going to be a pain. I accidentally did. Okay, come on, buddy. Now that you've seen what not to do, all right, come on. There we go. Is that right? Perfect. Yep. All right, cool. Pull that. And then we're going to skip the middle hole, go all the way down to this second to last hole, and then stick it in there. Oh, wait. Helps if I have the middle. Okay, come on. Oh, I missed. I lost my hole. Okay. And then we're just gonna slide it in. Or not. I knew it was going too smoothly. There we go. Pull it. And then we're going to go through this final hole. Make sure we are where we need to be. Perfect. And then we're going to go back through this hole. Wonderful. Oops. And then back through that middle hole, being careful not to cross, and also so that this ending thread is, I've got the beginning thread and the ending thread on two different sides of that center. Ooh, my battery's about to die. And then I pull tight, make sure all my stitches are tight. Untape this and then tie it a few times in a square knot. All right, and then we trim this, and that's one signature in. One signature down. I'm going to do the rest off camera. And then we'll be back. This looks strange, I admit it. But this is what we've got going on right now. So all my signatures are sewn onto the fabric, and I have clothespin them all together so that they stand up, and I can hopefully get this situated. Now what I'm going to do is go ahead and glue down this fabric. The most important thing is that my signatures are centered. So that's what we're going to do now. Cool. Let's start by spreading glue on here. I want a nice strong spine. Okay. And then very carefully, being mindful of the margins, I'm gonna have to get in frame here, I think. Yeah, I think that's going to work. And then let's use this to burnish. And then now I will spread glue on the inside flap. Might have been easier to sew the signatures onto another piece of fabric and then glue in that spine, the fabric spine, to the spine, but here we go, and I gotta let that dry just like that. Yay, this is dried, and I'm really pleased with how that turned out. Just a little bit further to go. That is so exciting. Now I need to figure out just how much I want this to go over. I don't want it to go too far, but I do need it to cover. Alright, and so what that allows me to do by taking off those little corners is when I fold this, I'll get a much cleaner point. You see? Much cleaner. So then another thing to take into consideration is this bit. Now, I wonder, can I just work it up underneath there? I did sew these in pretty tight. There we go. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, that's gonna work quite nicely. Awesome. Now I just need some glue. I've got some more drying to do, and then we'll be back. It's dry. Yay! Here is the outside. Now, I did consider doing some kind of focal point for the front, but I don't really know my swap partner that well, and I don't want to put anything on the cover that she's not going to like. So I am just going to leave that blank. Yeah, that is really beautiful. I'm really happy with how this turned out, and I hope she likes it too. I'm leaving it and deliberately making it so that she can customize it how she sees fit. So hopefully she at least likes it that much. The flip through. We've got some stenciling and some stamping here throughout. Little bits. Again, I wanted her to be able to customize it. Got a little ruffle here I made from some fabric. More stenciling. Some lace I sprayed through and laid down on that page. A couple of pockets. She said she loves ephemera and she loves pockets, so I made a few. Figured she would make them as needed. I did add a few more full-size pages, I believe, from the last, when I last showed you the signatures, because I was bugging, for lack of a better term. I sewed this page. So that was one of the ripped pages, and I thought it would look neat. I guess I could have done more stitching on it, but I didn't. Just that one little repair. I thought it gave it some character. More stenciling. Some lace ruffle down this page. Vintage is not typically something I have a lot of skill in. That came out weird. Vintage style is not something I do often. There, that's better. So, trying to figure that out with what I have already was a challenge, and I enjoyed the challenge. Little stamp over here, another little pocket. That glue. Yes, it was glue. This is 2 pages sewed together to make a big wide pocket. I thought that was kind of neat. Some more stamping, another ruffle, music paper. I did some decorative cutting on some of these edges. More lace sewed directly on. Cute little floral greenery stamp. Stenciling, music pages, more stamping, just very light. Another little side pocket. Maybe I should do some more splatters. That might be what I need. The challenge of making a journal for somebody else is you never really know what they want unless they specifically tell you or you work closely with them. This is a little fold out. More little, this is actually the trim on a dress that was in really sad shape. There's a lot of grunge in here. I can do grunge. Vintage is a whole other challenge. So hopefully this fits that idea. Some more lace. Not lace, ruffle. This was that a jelly? No, that was a stencil. Cleaning of a stencil. The parameters, as I mentioned before, were neutral, vintage, little tab, and yeah, neutral and vintage and hardcover. Those were what I had to work with, and I think I did all right. I really enjoyed working on this journal. Glitter Gammy, I hope you love it. And I can't wait to see the work you do in it. Thank you so much for swapping with me. First time swapping for Dephemerember, and I am so excited to get started. Can't wait to see what you've got for me. I also have a little envelope with some scraps to send along with this journal. So she's got some fabric and some papers to work with. I also took a few pages out of the book that I used this cover, that I got this cover from, so that she can have a few pages, and it has plenty of room to expand. Not a gator mouth by any means at this point. All right, thanks so much for watching. I hope you have a great day, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye.